What if I told you you've been doing it wrong your whole life? It sounds bold, right? But hear me out. The top 1% of successful people all have one thing in common. They think differently. They don't just work harder or get luckier. They operate with a mindset that 99% of people don't know about. Imagine waking up every day with the clarity, focus, and confidence to make decisions that align with your success. In the 1% Mindset Secret 99% Don't Know, Do This Now audiobook, you'll uncover the exact mindset shift that can transform your life, the secret that allows the 1% to consistently outperform and achieve their goals. From overcoming obstacles to seizing opportunities, this audiobook will teach you how to think, act, and respond like those at the top. By the end of this audiobook, you'll learn to embrace resilience, self-belief, and a growth-oriented mindset that will lead you to your goals faster and with more success. It's not about changing what you do, it's about changing how you think. So are you ready to stop doing it the old way and start doing it the 1% way? Welcome to the 1% Mindset Secret, your first step toward lasting success. Chapter 1. The number one mindset shift that 99% of people don't know but can change everything about your life. Have you ever had one of those moments where everything seems to click? Like, suddenly, something you've been struggling with just makes sense, and all the pieces fall into place. What if I told you that a simple shift in thinking could do that for you, not just in that moment, but every day, in every area of your life? It's crazy, right? But it's true. This shift is often the key difference between people who stay stuck and people who move forward, consistently growing and succeeding. And the best part? It's not about doing something wildly complicated or out of reach. It's just about changing the way you think. Here's a question. How often do you find yourself stuck in negative patterns of thinking? Maybe you've told yourself, I can't do this, or I'm not good enough. Do these thoughts sound familiar? Most of us have been there, and it's easy to get trapped in that cycle. We let self-doubt creep in, and before we know it, we're holding ourselves back from the things we truly want to achieve. But here's the thing. What you believe about yourself and your abilities has the power to shape your reality. That's the hidden power of this simple mindset shift. Now imagine a moment when you're faced with a big challenge. Instead of immediately thinking, this is too hard or I'll never make it, you could think, what can I learn from this? Or how can I grow through this experience? That shift in thinking, choosing growth over fear, learning over self-criticism, changes everything. It's not about being immune to challenges or fears. It's about approaching them with the mindset that you can overcome, learn, and adapt. That shift is powerful because it transforms every challenge into an opportunity. And once you realize this, you start seeing the world in a completely new way. Think about someone you admire, maybe a famous entrepreneur or celebrity, or even just someone in your own life who seems to have it all together. Now, what do you think is different about how they think? Do they have some secret formula for success? The truth is, they probably just made this simple shift in thinking. They believe in themselves and their ability to change things, even when it's tough. They don't see failure as the end, but as part of the journey. How often have you looked at successful people and thought, they have something I don't, but what if they have something that's within your reach all along? What if their success didn't come from having a better start, but from the way they chose to think about challenges and growth? Let's take a moment to really picture this. You're working on a big project, something that means a lot to you, but things aren't going as planned. You hit a setback. Your first reaction is frustration, maybe even discouragement. But what if, instead of staying stuck in that frustration, you said, okay, this isn't working, but what can I learn from this? What's the next step I can take to turn this around? Suddenly, that setback doesn't feel so heavy. You're still in control. That's the power of changing the narrative you tell yourself in those moments. This shift isn't just about thinking positively, like some feel-good mantra that only lasts for a few minutes. No, it's about changing the fundamental way you approach life's challenges. When you begin to see failure, not as a reflection of who you are, but as a tool for growth, you'll find that everything starts to feel possible. Think about the first time you learned to ride a bike. Did you get it on the first try? No, you probably fell a few times, maybe even got frustrated. But then, you got back on the bike. Why? Because you believed you could learn. You knew the end goal was worth it. That belief pushed you to keep going, even when it wasn't easy. Now imagine if you approached every challenge in your life with that same mindset. What could you achieve? The truth is, this shift isn't about making things perfect. It's about taking imperfect action, embracing setbacks, and understanding that every step, even the missteps, is part of becoming better. And the more you practice this shift in thinking, the more natural it becomes. Instead of seeing obstacles as roadblocks, you'll start seeing them as opportunities to grow, to stretch yourself, to push past what you thought were your limits. Here's where it gets exciting. Once you start shifting your mindset like this, things start to change. You stop looking for reasons why something won't work and start looking for ways to make it work. You stop waiting for the perfect moment and start creating opportunities right where you are. You stop doubting yourself and start believing in your ability to figure things out as you go. So what's holding you back from making this shift? Are you ready to stop letting old patterns of thinking hold you down? Imagine how it would feel to wake up every day with the belief that whatever comes your way, you can handle it. That you can grow no matter what happens. That's the power of this simple mindset shift. And you know what? Once you start thinking like this, you're going to look back and realize how much your life has changed. How many doors have opened, how many challenges you've faced and conquered, and how many new opportunities are on the horizon. This shift is just the beginning. In the next chapter, we'll dive deeper into how you can turn this mindset into action. Because it's one thing to think differently, but it's another to use that thinking to take bold steps forward. So, are you ready to make the shift? Let's dive deeper into the practical strategies for turning this mindset into real, actionable steps. Stay tuned, because you're about to unlock the next level of your success. How this mindset shift transforms your life and success. Have you ever thought about how one simple shift in the way you think could completely change your life? It sounds almost too good to be true, right? But here's the thing. That one small shift, that change in mindset, can be the key that unlocks doors you didn't even know existed. Imagine waking up every day with a new perspective. One where obstacles don't feel like walls, but opportunities to grow. What if instead of doubting your next step, you were filled with a sense of confidence and possibility? Sounds pretty incredible, doesn't it? Now think back to a time when something big was happening in your life. Maybe you were faced with a major decision, or perhaps you were up against a challenge that felt bigger than anything you've dealt with before. In that moment, what was running through your mind? Was it fear, uncertainty, or maybe even self-doubt? We all go through those moments where we're uncertain of our abilities or the outcome. But here's where this mindset shift comes in. What if, in that moment, you stopped thinking about the risks and started thinking about the growth on the other side? What if, instead of asking, "What if I fail?" you asked, "What can I learn from this, no matter what happens?" That right there is the magic of this shift. When you change the way you think, it doesn't just impact one area of your life, it impacts everything. It's like flipping a switch in your brain that helps you see the world in a completely new light. Let me paint a picture for you. Imagine you're driving down the highway, and you're so focused on the road ahead, making sure you avoid any obstacles. But all of a sudden, you realize that by focusing so much on the road, you're missing out on the beautiful scenery around you. The hills, the trees, the sunsets. Now, imagine you're still focused on the road, but you're also appreciating everything else around you. That's how shifting your mindset works. You're still facing challenges, but now you see them as part of the bigger picture. You stop being consumed by fear or doubt and start using those moments as stepping stones for your growth. This shift has a ripple effect. It affects how you handle relationships, your work, and even your personal goals. Imagine approaching every conversation with a mindset that assumes growth and understanding. Suddenly, instead of feeling overwhelmed by disagreements, you see them as opportunities to learn and connect more deeply. Think about how that could change the way you interact with others, how much more meaningful those interactions would become. And it doesn't stop there. When you shift your mindset, you stop seeing challenges as roadblocks. Instead, they become lessons. Think about something in your life that felt overwhelming at one point. Maybe it was a job change, a personal setback, or something you thought you'd never get through. What if, instead of letting it paralyze you, you leaned into it, knowing that it's a chance to grow? That's the power of this mindset. It allows you to see obstacles not as something to fear, but as the training ground for your future success. When people in places like LA and SF embrace this mindset, they're not just going after short-term wins. They're building for the long term. They trust the process, even when they don't know exactly where it's going. They understand that growth takes time, and each small decision, each risk they take, is moving them closer to their ultimate goals. It's the kind of mindset that turns temporary setbacks into valuable experiences that shape their journey. Have you ever taken a step back after a setback and thought, wow, I learned so much from that? That's the power of shifting your thinking. Here's a question to really reflect on. What would happen if you started seeing everything as a learning opportunity? Not just the easy stuff, but the hard stuff, the stuff that makes you feel uncomfortable. What if you embrace those moments not with fear, but with curiosity, asking, what can this teach me? Think of how that shift could change your approach to your goals, your career, and even your relationships. Instead of seeing obstacles as something to avoid, you'd start looking for ways to turn them into springboards for success. That's the mindset shift we're talking about. And here's the best part. Once you make this shift, it becomes who you are. It's not something you have to remind yourself to do every day. It becomes instinctual. It's how you naturally approach life, making you more resilient, more adaptable, and more capable of taking on whatever comes your way. You stop feeling overwhelmed by life's challenges, and you start feeling empowered by them. This shift doesn't just change how you think, it changes how you act. When you stop holding yourself back with negative thoughts, you begin to take bold steps forward. You start taking action, even when things feel uncertain. You push past your comfort zone because you've realized that growth only happens when you step out. And with each small win, each step you take toward your goals, the confidence builds. Soon, you're not just thinking like someone who's capable, you're acting like someone who knows they will succeed, no matter the challenge. So what's holding you back from making this mindset shift today? Are you ready to stop letting fear dictate your actions and start using that fear as the fuel for your growth? Imagine the impact on your life if you made that choice. What would change for you if you started seeing every challenge as an opportunity for growth instead of something to avoid? In the next chapter, we'll dive deeper into how you can start cultivating this mindset every single day and how small daily shifts can lead to big, lasting change in your personal and professional life. You won't want to miss it. This is the next step in your transformation. Stay tuned. Chapter 2. Practical Strategies for Cultivating a Growth-Focused Mindset. Daily Habits to Strengthen Your Growth Mindset. Imagine waking up every morning with a sense of possibility, knowing that today is another opportunity to grow, to challenge yourself, and to move closer to the life you want. Now, what if I told you that the way you start your day can have a profound impact on how you think, how you act, and ultimately how you succeed? That's the power of daily habits. The small actions you take every single day have the potential to shape the way you think and how you approach the world. And the best part? You have the ability to design these habits to strengthen your growth mindset, a mindset that opens doors, crushes challenges, and fuels continuous progress. Imagine this. It's early morning, and you're standing at the edge of a new day. Instead of hitting the snooze button and starting the day in a rush, you choose to spend just a few minutes focused on one simple thing: growth. You know that the small decisions you make now, what you think about, how you speak to yourself, and the actions you take will set the tone for everything that follows. This shift in focus, even if just for a few minutes, can completely change your outlook for the rest of the day. Start by creating a morning ritual that encourages you to think positively and intentionally. Imagine taking just 5 minutes when you wake up to reflect on the things you're grateful for. It might sound simple, but gratitude has the power to reframe your mindset. Instead of waking up with a feeling of, I have so much to do, or I don't know how I'm going to get through the day, you start the day by focusing on the things that are already working in your life. It's a subtle shift, but it makes a world of difference. Gratitude doesn't just change your mood, it changes how you see the world. When you practice it consistently, it starts to shape the way you approach problems and opportunities. Suddenly, challenges become less about, why is this happening to me, and more about, what can I learn from this? Once you've grounded yourself with gratitude, set a clear intention for the day. It doesn't have to be a huge, life-changing goal every time. It could be something small but meaningful, like, today, I'm going to push myself to take that step forward on my project, or I'll stay open to feedback and use it to improve. This simple practice of setting an intention gives your mind a direction. It's like having a map for your day, so no matter how chaotic things get, you have a sense of purpose to guide you. Another powerful habit is affirmations, speaking words of encouragement to yourself. It might sound cheesy, but stay with me. The truth is, we are often our own harshest critics. How many times have you looked in the mirror and immediately found something wrong with your appearance, or doubted your abilities before even starting a task? But what if, instead of focusing on your limitations, you decided to speak to yourself as if you were your own best friend? Saying things like, "I am capable," "I am learning and growing," or "every challenge I face is an opportunity to improve," shifts your inner narrative. When you consistently remind yourself of your strengths, your resilience, and your ability to grow, you set the stage for a growth mindset to take root. It's not about ignoring your flaws, it's about giving yourself the encouragement to keep moving forward despite them. Now, I know that all sounds great, but what about those moments when things don't go according to plan, when you hit a roadblock, feel overwhelmed, or make a mistake? Here's the thing, how you respond to setbacks is everything. In a growth mindset, failure isn't the end, it's just a detour. Successful people don't let setbacks define them. Instead, they use them as stepping stones to improvement. So, one of the best habits you can develop is to see every mistake as an opportunity to learn, not something to be ashamed of. This isn't about pretending things are always perfect, it's about embracing imperfections as part of the journey. And when you develop this habit of responding with curiosity and learning, you'll find that challenges aren't something to fear, they're the very things that help you grow. This all ties into a daily habit that might feel small but is incredibly powerful, reflecting on the day's wins, no matter how small. Take a moment at the end of each day to think about what you accomplished, what you learned, and how you grew. Even if things didn't go perfectly, what went right? Maybe you made a difficult decision, or you stepped outside your comfort zone. Maybe you learned something new that will help you in the future. Celebrating those small wins, even if they don't feel huge at the time, keeps you motivated and reinforces the belief that you are capable of growth. It's like fueling your inner engine with a bit of positivity every day. As your days become filled with these small habits, gratitude, intention setting, affirmations, learning from setbacks, and celebrating wins, you start to see something incredible happen. You begin to train your mind to focus on growth, to embrace challenges, and to see opportunities in every situation. These daily habits begin to compound, and over time, they create a mindset that's unstoppable. You start waking up not only excited for the day, but also confident in your ability to grow, no matter what comes your way. So here's the question for you. What's one small habit you can start today that will strengthen your growth mindset? Maybe it's taking 5 minutes in the morning to set your intentions, or writing down one thing you're grateful for. Whatever it is, just start. The smallest changes can lead to the biggest transformations, and the more you practice, the easier it becomes to see challenges as opportunities rather than obstacles. In the next, we'll dive into how you can build on these habits and create a lasting transformation in your life. It's time to take these habits and really make them work for you. You won't want to miss it, because once you start practicing these daily routines, you'll start to see real, lasting change. Stay tuned! How to break free from limiting beliefs and embrace change. What would it feel like if you could break free from the beliefs that have been holding you back? Imagine waking up one day, free from the fear, doubt, and limitations you've carried around for so long. What if you didn't have to fight against that voice in your head telling you you're not good enough, or that you can't change, or that you're stuck in your current circumstances? How different would your life look if those limits were gone, and you were finally free to chase after your dreams with full confidence? Sounds incredible, right? But how do you make that happen? How do you break free from those deeply ingrained limiting beliefs and embrace the kind of change that leads to growth and transformation? Let's start with something simple. What's that one belief you have about yourself that keeps you from stepping forward? Maybe it's the idea that you're not smart enough to succeed in your dream career, or that you don't have the right connections to grow your business. Or maybe it's just that this is how things are and they'll never change. We all have them. Those invisible barriers built up over years of experiences, mistakes, and maybe even things we've been told by others. These beliefs are sneaky because they feel so real. They feel like truths. But here's the thing. They're not truths. They're just stories we've told ourselves over time. And the beautiful thing is that we can rewrite those stories. We can break free from them, step by step. Now let's picture this. You've been told your whole life that you're not cut out for leadership, that you're better off following than leading. It's a belief you've internalized, perhaps from a difficult experience, or a comment from someone you looked up to. But one day, you're in a meeting at work, and an opportunity to lead a project arises. Your heart races. That familiar voice in your head starts whispering, "You're not ready for this. Someone else should do it. You pause, and for the first time, you ask yourself a different question. What if I'm wrong about that belief? What if I can lead, even if I've never done it before? That's the moment you begin to break free. Instead of letting your past define your future, you're choosing to step into a new possibility. You choose to embrace change. But here's the kicker. Changing your mindset isn't something that happens overnight. It's like working out a muscle. It requires effort, practice, and consistency. To break free from limiting beliefs, you first have to acknowledge them. You have to get honest with yourself about the things that have been keeping you stuck. What have you been telling yourself about your potential, about your abilities, about your worth? Once you identify those limiting beliefs, you can start to challenge them. Ask yourself, is this belief really true? Where did it come from? Is this belief serving me, or is it just keeping me comfortable in a place I no longer want to be? Now here's where it gets interesting. Once you start questioning those beliefs, something shifts in you. You realize that those beliefs don't have to control you. You've been living within the boundaries of your own mind, but now you have the power to redefine those boundaries. Imagine if you could change the stories you've been telling yourself. What would happen if, instead of focusing on your flaws or limitations, you focused on your strengths, your potential, and your willingness to grow? Think about a time when you stepped outside your comfort zone, even for just a moment. Maybe it was a small decision, trying something new, speaking up when you normally wouldn't, or taking on a challenge that scared you. That moment was proof that you are capable of growth. Each time you make a choice that moves you past your limits, you're rewiring your brain to believe that change is possible. And when you start believing that change is possible, you'll be amazed at how much you can accomplish. What about the fears that hold you back from making those changes? Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of not being enough. Fear is a natural part of growth. But when you shift your perspective, you begin to see fear not as something that stops you, but as a signal that you're on the right track. Fear shows up when you're stretching yourself, when you're stepping into new territory. And the more you face that fear, the less power it has over you. It becomes just another emotion, one you can acknowledge but no longer let dictate your actions. Now let's talk about the biggest thing holding most of us back: self-doubt. How many times have you doubted your ability to change or succeed? I know I've been there, wondering if I'm good enough, wondering if the change I'm working toward is even possible. But here's the truth. Self-doubt is part of the human experience. What successful people do, what top professionals do in places like LA and SF, isn't eliminate self-doubt. It's keep moving forward in spite of it. They don't wait for self-doubt to vanish. They act in spite of it. They commit to their vision, even when the path is unclear. And when they fall short, they don't beat themselves up. They learn, adjust, and keep going. This is where embracing change becomes not just a concept, but a lifestyle. Change is ongoing, and when you learn to live in it, rather than fight it, you begin to build a life that reflects your true potential. So when was the last time you felt stuck because of a belief that was limiting your growth? What's one small step you can take today to challenge that belief? Maybe it's speaking up in a meeting, trying something you've always been afraid of, or just letting go of the idea that you're not good enough. What would happen if you embraced the discomfort of change and used it to propel you forward? What if you realized that breaking free from limiting beliefs is the first step toward a life you've only dreamed of? In the next chapter, we'll talk about how embracing challenges isn't just about facing them head-on, but about turning them into opportunities for growth. Are you ready to step into that challenge with a new mindset? Stay tuned, you won't want to miss what comes next. Chapter 3. Embracing challenges as stepping stones to success. Turning setbacks into opportunities for growth. Have you ever faced a setback so big that it felt like the end of the road? Maybe you lost an opportunity you really wanted, or things didn't go according to plan, and you found yourself questioning everything. In those moments, it can be so easy to feel defeated, like you've hit a wall that you'll never get past. But what if I told you that the very setbacks that seem like failures could actually be the stepping stones to your greatest growth? Sounds counterintuitive, doesn't it? But stick with me, because this shift in perspective could change everything for you. Picture this. You're working on a project, pouring your time and energy into it, and then, bam, something goes wrong. Maybe it's a missed deadline, an unexpected roadblock, or even a rejection that stings. It feels like everything you've been working for just slipped away. In that moment, it's easy to feel like you've been knocked down and you won't get back up. But what if instead of seeing it as an end, you saw it as a new beginning? What if, instead of getting stuck in the disappointment, you asked yourself, what can I learn from this? How can this make me stronger? That's the heart of turning setbacks into opportunities for growth. It's not about ignoring the pain or pretending like everything is fine. It's about acknowledging the setback and using it to fuel your next move. Think about someone like J.K. Rowling, who faced rejection after rejection before finally getting Harry Potter published. She could have easily given up after the first or the 10th rejection, but instead, she used those setbacks as fuel to keep going. Each no was just another step closer to a yes, and in the end, she created a literary empire. Can you imagine how different her life would be if she had let rejection stop her? What about you? Are there dreams you've abandoned because of setbacks, even though they could have been the ones that led to your biggest breakthrough? The truth is, setbacks aren't personal attacks. They're part of the journey. Every successful person you admire has faced their share of setbacks. Elon Musk, for example, faced failure after failure with SpaceX and Tesla. Rockets exploded, production issues plagued Tesla, and people doubted his vision. But instead of letting these setbacks define him, Musk chose to learn from them. He didn't get discouraged, he got smarter. Each mistake taught him something new, and that's what led him to where he is today. Failure didn't stop him, it taught him how to do it better. And that's the key. Setbacks teach you lessons. They show you where things went wrong, where you need to adjust, and what you need to improve. It's easy to get discouraged when things don't go according to plan, but what if you started seeing those moments as invitations to grow? What if every failure was a new piece of the puzzle that, when put together, made you stronger, smarter, and more capable of achieving your goals? Instead of looking at a setback as a sign to quit, you could look at it as an opportunity to refine your approach and keep moving forward. Let's take a moment to think about a time in your own life when you hit a setback. Maybe it was a career decision, a personal goal, or even something as simple as trying something new and failing. How did you handle it? Did you let the disappointment hold you back? Or did you learn from it and use it to come back stronger? This isn't just about not giving up. It's about reframing the experience. It's about shifting your perspective so that every setback becomes a lesson, and every lesson becomes another step toward your success. Here's the truth. You are going to face setbacks. It's inevitable. But the way you respond to them is what separates the dreamers from the doers. You can let setbacks break you, or you can let them build you. It's up to you. And the beautiful thing is, every time you rise after a setback, you're strengthening your resilience. You're training yourself to not only survive the tough times, but to thrive because of them. You're teaching yourself that setbacks are just temporary moments in the bigger picture of your success. Think about it. Every time you take something that seems like a failure and turn it into a lesson, you're becoming more resourceful, more adaptable, and more capable of achieving what you've set out to do. So, the next time something goes wrong, when you miss a target or face a roadblock, don't see it as the end of the line. See it as part of the process. Learn from it, grow from it, and use it to fuel your next move. Are you ready to start seeing setbacks as opportunities for growth instead of obstacles? The change in mindset could be the turning point that propels you toward your next level of success. And here's the exciting part. The more you embrace this mindset, the more you'll see setbacks not as something to fear, but as something to welcome. In the next, we're going to dive into how to embrace challenges and turn them into stepping stones for even greater achievements. This is just the beginning, and the best part is yet to come. Stay tuned. This journey is about to get even more exciting. Why resilience is key to overcoming life's toughest obstacles. Think about the last time you hit a tough obstacle in your life. Maybe it was a setback in your career, a personal challenge, or even just a really rough day that felt like it would never end. How did you react? Did you feel like giving up, or did you find the strength to keep going? What was the difference between those who give up and those who keep pushing forward? It's resilience, the ability to bounce back after facing hardship, to keep moving even when life knocks you down. Resilience isn't something we're born with. It's not a natural trait that some people have and others don't. It's a skill, a mindset, something you build over time. It's the muscle that you train when you face challenges, big or small. So what makes resilience so important when it comes to overcoming life's toughest obstacles? Why does it make the difference between staying stuck and breaking through to something better? Picture this. You've been working tirelessly on a project, giving it everything you've got, and suddenly, it all falls apart. The client backs out, the deal you've worked for months on slips through your fingers, and all that effort seems to have been for nothing. In that moment, it's easy to feel defeated, like you've failed, and that nothing will ever work out. But here's the thing. Failure is not the end. Resilience is about finding the strength to look at that failure and say, "This isn't over, I'm not done yet." It's about fighting for your future, even when things aren't going as planned. The magic of resilience is that it turns setbacks into stepping stones. Think about someone like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. He's one of the biggest names in Hollywood now, but his journey wasn't always smooth. He faced rejection after rejection early in his career. He didn't get his big break overnight. In fact, he went through a period where his dreams of playing in the NFL were crushed, and he struggled to find his place in the world. But instead of letting those failures define him, he used them to fuel his comeback. He pivoted, took risks, and reinvented himself as a wrestler, then a movie star. The Rock wasn't born resilient. He became resilient by choosing to rise every time he fell. When things didn't go his way, he kept going, and that mindset carried him to the top. Resilience is about refusing to stay down. It's about believing that setbacks are temporary and that your journey is far from over. It's not about ignoring pain or pretending everything is okay. It's about understanding that pain is part of the process. It's learning how to grow through the discomfort and to keep moving, even when every step feels like it's uphill. Think about a time when you faced something hard, but you chose not to give up. Maybe it was an exam, a challenging work project, or a personal loss. You could have stayed down in that moment, allowed the disappointment to consume you. But something inside of you pushed you forward. That's resilience. The ability to keep going. Not because it's easy, but because you believe in your ability to overcome. It's the quiet strength that keeps you going when it feels like the world is pushing against you. And here's where it gets even more powerful. Resilience isn't just about surviving. It's about thriving after hardship. When you embrace resilience, you begin to see challenges as opportunities to grow stronger. When life throws obstacles your way, you don't just bounce back to where you were. You come back even better. Each tough experience adds to your ability to handle the next one. Think about it. Every time you overcome a challenge, you're building your toolkit for the future. It's like lifting weights. The more you lift, the stronger you get. But I get it. It's hard. Sometimes life can feel overwhelming. The world can seem like it's too much to handle, and the weight of everything can make it feel impossible to keep going. But that's exactly when resilience matters most. In those moments, you don't have to have it all figured out. You don't have to be perfect. You just need to take the next step, no matter how small. Resilience is all about trusting the process and knowing that even if you can't see the end goal, every step you take gets you closer. Sometimes, the next step is just getting out of bed, showing up for yourself, and putting one foot in front of the other. That's where real growth happens. And this is where it connects to your long-term success. The more resilient you become, the more likely you are to keep going when things get tough, to keep chasing your dreams even when the road isn't smooth. The people who succeed aren't necessarily the ones who have never faced adversity. They're the ones who keep going. They learn how to bend, not break. They face every challenge with the knowledge that they are capable of handling it, and even if they don't have the answers now, they will find them. That belief in themselves is what separates them from those who give up. So let me ask you, what's one area of your life where you could start building resilience today? Maybe it's a personal goal that feels out of reach, or a situation that's been weighing on you. What would happen if you chose to face that challenge with resilience instead of fear? What if you decided that no matter what, you'd keep moving forward? In the next chapter, we'll dive into how you can build that resilience, even when it feels hard. Resilience doesn't happen overnight, but with small steps every day, you can develop the mindset that will carry you through life's toughest moments. Stay tuned, because the next part of this journey is going to show you exactly how to keep going, even when you feel like you can't. Chapter 4. Real-life examples of success powered by this mindset. How iconic figures use the 1% mindset to achieve greatness. What does it take to go from ordinary to extraordinary? We all look at iconic figures, whether they're entrepreneurs, artists, athletes, or leaders, and wonder, what makes them so different? How did they get there? It's easy to think they have something most of us don't, some kind of magic formula that sets them apart. But here's the thing. The secret isn't in their talent alone. It's in their mindset. They think in a way that only about 1% of people do. And once you understand how this mindset works, you'll see that it's available to you too. Let me paint a picture. Think about Oprah Winfrey, a woman who came from poverty and faced unimaginable hardships, yet went on to build an empire. What made her so different? It wasn't just her ambition or work ethic. It was her 1% mindset. Oprah didn't just see setbacks as obstacles. She saw them as opportunities to grow. Her mindset wasn't, I can't. It was, how can I? That's what set her apart. She faced rejection, disappointment, and failure. Yet each time, she pushed through. Why? Because she saw every challenge as a chance to prove herself, not just to the world, but to herself. How many times have you faced a setback and thought, maybe this is just too hard? What if, instead of retreating, you leaned into those tough moments, knowing that they were exactly what would help you grow? Oprah's journey was never a smooth path, but her mindset kept her moving forward, even when the road ahead seemed impossible. She believed that nothing could stop her, and that belief led her to take risks, build relationships, and make decisions that others would have hesitated to make. Imagine if you took that same approach to your own life. What if you started facing every challenge with the thought, this is just the beginning of something great? Then there's Elon Musk, a man who has changed the way we think about space travel, electric cars, and artificial intelligence. When Musk first started SpaceX, people thought he was crazy. Rockets don't get made on a shoestring budget. But Musk had that 1% mindset. He believed in the impossible, even when no one else did. He didn't just want to make a rocket. He wanted to make space travel more affordable and accessible. People doubted him, and his first few attempts at launching rockets failed. But Musk didn't see failure as a reason to stop. To him, failure was part of the process. It was how you learned. His mindset wasn't about avoiding mistakes. It was about learning from them and pushing forward. Musk's ability to embrace risk is another hallmark of the 1% mindset. He wasn't afraid of failing, he was afraid of not trying. When was the last time you took a big risk and asked yourself, what's the worst that could happen? If you think about it, some of the most successful people in the world took huge risks, not because they were invincible, but because they knew the rewards outweighed the risk. What risk could you take today that might move you closer to your biggest goal? Another great example is Steve Jobs. Jobs wasn't just a visionary, he was a master at thinking differently. When Apple first introduced the iPhone, people thought it was a crazy idea. Who needs a touchscreen phone with no keyboard? But Jobs didn't listen to the skeptics. He had a clear vision of how technology could change the way we interact with the world, and he relentlessly pursued that vision. His mindset was, don't settle for what everyone else is doing, create something that changes the game. That's the power of the 1% mindset. It's about seeing possibilities where others see problems and taking action where others hesitate. Now, I'm not saying that every decision Jobs made was perfect or that there weren't moments when he doubted himself. But he believed in his vision and took action regardless of the fear or uncertainty he faced. It's easy to let fear stop us from trying, but the mindset of someone like Jobs says, do it anyway. When was the last time you let fear hold you back from making a decision? Imagine if you had Jobs' mindset. What would you do differently in your life? These iconic figures didn't just think about what was or what is. They thought about what could be. They created their own opportunities by seeing things in a way most people don't. The key to their success wasn't just working harder. It was working smarter by using visionary thinking. And this is what the 1% mindset is all about. It's not just about achieving success. It's about changing the way you think about success in the first place. They didn't wait for the perfect moment or for someone to give them permission to take action. They created their own path and moved forward with unwavering belief in their vision. So what about you? What if you started thinking like these top professionals? What if, instead of focusing on the obstacles in your way, you focused on the opportunities? What if, instead of seeing failure as something to avoid, you saw it as something to learn from? The 1% mindset isn't just about being born with talent. It's about adopting the belief that you can create success and then acting on it. As we move forward, we'll talk about how to apply this mindset to your own life and take actionable steps toward making these shifts. Imagine what could happen if you started using this mindset every day. Your challenges wouldn't look like roadblocks anymore. They'd look like the keys to your success. Stay tuned, because the next chapter is all about making this shift real in your own journey. Stories of ordinary people who've transformed their lives. There's something truly powerful about hearing real stories of people who've gone from ordinary to extraordinary. It's easy to believe that success is reserved for the lucky few or the chosen ones, those born with silver spoons or some special gift. But what if I told you that some of the most inspiring stories come from people who started with nothing more than a dream, a little grit, and a willingness to believe that change is possible? Take Sarah, for example. A few years ago, she was stuck in a job she hated, living paycheck to paycheck. She felt like life had become a routine, a grind that she couldn't escape. But one day, as she sat in her cubicle, she asked herself a question. What if I could do something different? What if this wasn't all there is to life? That thought changed everything. It wasn't that Sarah knew exactly what she wanted to do. It was more that she realized she had the power to choose. So, she made a decision. She would start learning something new. She began picking up small skills in the evenings, watching online tutorials, and reading about graphic design. At first, it felt like she was wasting time, like nothing was happening. But the more she learned, the more she saw what was possible. Within months, she was able to leave her soul-crushing job and start her own freelance design business. Now she works with clients from all over the world, doing something she's passionate about. She transformed her life simply by asking herself one powerful question. What if I can make a change? Then there's David, who went through his own version of ordinary to extraordinary. David worked as a mechanic for most of his life. He was good at what he did, but he felt stuck. He had a lot of ideas, but he didn't think they were good enough. One day, while trying to fix a car, David had an idea for an auto repair tool that could save time and be more efficient. At first, he didn't take it seriously. I'm just a mechanic, he thought. But the idea wouldn't leave him. It gnawed at him. He started to sketch it out in his free time and, with no background in engineering, worked through countless trial and error moments. Fast forward a few years, and that idea became a patented product that is now sold in auto shops nationwide. David never saw himself as an inventor, but he didn't let that hold him back. He saw an opportunity and took it. His story shows that the only thing standing between where you are and where you want to be is taking action. These stories are proof that anyone can transform their life, no matter where they start. But there's a pattern in each of these stories, something we all have in common. We all have the power to choose. We have the ability to decide that today is the day we change. It's about taking that first step, no matter how small it seems, and trusting that the journey will unfold in ways you can't always predict. Let's think about Mike for a moment. Mike was a guy with a ton of potential but little direction. He had dreams of starting his own business, but kept telling himself, I'm not ready yet, or I don't have the skills. His job wasn't inspiring, but he didn't think he had what it took to go out on his own. One day, though, his company announced they were downsizing. Suddenly, he was forced to face his biggest fear. What would he do if he lost his job? Instead of letting fear take over, Mike made the bold decision to start a small online business selling custom t-shirts. It wasn't a huge leap at first, but it gave him something he could pour his passion into. Slowly but surely, Mike started making a name for himself in the online world. Today he runs a successful e-commerce business, selling t-shirts to a global market. Mike could have let fear hold him back, but he chose courage over comfort. He took the first step, even when the path wasn't clear, and now he's living a life he never thought possible. What's incredible about these stories is that they're all people who, at some point, could have decided that change was too hard. They could have stayed stuck in their comfort zones, where things felt familiar, even if they weren't fulfilling. But they chose growth. They chose to believe in their potential, even when everything around them told them to stay where they were. So let's take a step back and think, what would it look like for you if you made that same decision today? What if, instead of waiting for the perfect moment, or waiting until everything feels right, you just took that first step? It doesn't have to be huge. Maybe it's learning a new skill, starting that business idea you've been toying with, or even just shifting your mindset from I can't to I will. The possibilities are endless once you stop holding yourself back and start embracing the idea that you are capable of change. So, what's the first step you're going to take? Are you ready to stop waiting for things to happen and start making them happen? The stories of people who've changed their lives aren't extraordinary. They're relatable. They started just like you, wondering if it was possible, questioning their own abilities. But they made the decision to act anyway. You have that same power within you. The journey to transformation begins with the belief that you can do it. What if today is the day you start? Stay tuned because the next chapter is going to dive even deeper into how you can start making these changes and turn them into lasting success. It's time to stop dreaming and start doing. Chapter 5. How to apply this mindset shift now for immediate results. Simple steps to integrate the 1% mindset into your daily routine. What if you could start each day with a mindset that not only helps you face challenges, but actually propels you forward, no matter what life throws at you? Imagine waking up with a deep sense of purpose, knowing that you have the power to move through your day with clarity, confidence, and determination. This isn't some abstract dream. It's the power of the 1% mindset, and the best part is, you can integrate it into your daily routine right now, without waiting for a perfect moment. It all starts with one simple shift. You choose how you think. Yes, it's that simple. But here's the thing. It's not a one-time decision. It's a commitment you make every day. The beauty of the 1% mindset is that it's not about waiting for the world to change for you. It's about taking control of how you approach each situation, each challenge, and each opportunity. So how do you start? Let's start with your morning. You might not realize it, but the way you begin your day can set the tone for everything that follows. Picture this. You wake up, and before jumping into your routine, take a moment to pause. Yes, just pause. In that moment of stillness, remind yourself that today is another opportunity to grow, to learn, and to move closer to your goals. It's a simple habit, but it works wonders. It's a small act that signals to your brain, today, I'm choosing to think like someone who can achieve anything. That shift in energy, from passive to proactive, is everything. The moment you make this decision in the morning, you set your day in motion, knowing that you're in control. Can you imagine how different your day would be if you started it with that kind of intention? Next, let's talk about your self-talk. Most of us don't even realize how negative we can be when talking to ourselves. We slip into old habits of self-doubt, fear, or insecurity. But to think like the 1%, we need to rewire how we speak to ourselves. Instead of thinking, I don't know if I can do this, try asking, how can I make this work? Instead of, this is too hard, try, this is an opportunity to grow. That's the shift. It might feel a little awkward at first, but trust me, it starts to change everything. If you tell yourself that you can handle whatever comes your way, you'll start believing it. And when you believe it, you start acting on it. Suddenly, that challenge becomes something to solve, not something to avoid. Now, here's where things get exciting. Start embracing discomfort. Yeah, I know. It's not the most fun thing to think about, right? But here's the truth. Growth only happens when you step outside your comfort zone. Top performers in every field understand this. They know that success doesn't come from playing it safe. It comes from taking those bold steps that make you a little nervous. And when you do this regularly, it becomes part of your routine. So look at every uncomfortable situation as an opportunity to level up. Whether it's making that tough phone call, having an uncomfortable conversation, or trying something new, those are the moments that will teach you the most. They stretch you, challenge you, and make you stronger. But here's the key. Do it consistently. It's easy to get motivated when you're feeling good or when you're in the mood. But real transformation happens when you do the hard things, even when you don't feel like it. It's the daily habits that count, not the big bursts of inspiration. So set a small goal each day that pushes you just a little bit further. Whether it's sending an email you've been putting off, reading for just 10 minutes to expand your knowledge, or reaching out to someone you admire for advice, those little actions compound. And soon, you'll realize that you've built a momentum that's hard to stop. The next step? Surround yourself with the right energy. Think about the people you spend the most time with. Are they encouraging your growth? Do they challenge you to be better, or do they bring you down? The 1% mindset isn't just about your inner world. It's also about the world you choose to surround yourself with. Seek out people who inspire you, who believe in your potential, and who push you to go further. You know the saying, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Well, it's true. So, take a look around. Are your relationships lifting you up or holding you back? Finally, as your day winds down, take a moment for reflection. It's not about beating yourself up for what went wrong. It's about asking, what went well today? What did I learn? What could I do better tomorrow? The 1% mindset is about constant evolution. It's about looking at each day not as a series of wins and losses, but as a learning process. Reflection isn't about judgment. It's about gaining clarity on how you can keep getting better. It's about setting yourself up for success tomorrow by learning from today. You see, integrating the 1% mindset into your daily routine isn't about making huge changes all at once. It's about small, consistent shifts that add up over time. It's about waking up every day with the intention to think bigger, act bolder, and learn faster. When you start adopting these habits, you'll notice that challenges stop feeling like roadblocks and start feeling like stepping stones to your next success. So what's one thing you can do right now to start shifting your mindset today? Maybe it's setting an intention for your morning, or practicing a new way of speaking to yourself. Whatever it is, take that first step. You're already on your way to building the life you've always dreamed of. And remember, the best part is yet to come. The next is all about taking action, not tomorrow, but right now. And I'm going to show you how to do it. Stay tuned. Quick wins you can achieve today using this powerful mindset. Imagine waking up tomorrow and feeling in control of your day with a sense of clarity and purpose driving you forward. You've got this powerful mindset now. And instead of waiting around for something to change, you're the one making things happen. Quick wins are exactly what you need to start this momentum. These small, achievable victories won't just help you feel better about where you're headed, they'll prove to yourself that you can make progress even on days when you don't feel like it. And the best part, you can start today. Let's say there's something you've been putting off, a task that seems daunting or even just a bit overwhelming. Maybe it's a work project, a personal goal, or a decision you've been avoiding. Now, what if I told you that with this powerful mindset shift, you could break that task into something so small and simple that you couldn't help but take action? Imagine just tackling the first step, even if it's something tiny, like sending that email or doing a 10-minute task you've been dreading. When you think about it, that's a win. It's not about perfection. It's about progress. By breaking things down into bite-sized pieces, you're proving to yourself that you can do it, and that small win will carry you through to the next one. Think about it like this. Have you ever been in a slump and all it took was completing something small? Maybe it was just cleaning up a space, organizing a drawer, or finishing a workout to suddenly feel like you've got your momentum back? That's the magic of quick wins. They shift your energy. They show you that you don't need to do everything at once to make a difference. In fact, the best way to build confidence is by taking those small, consistent actions that gradually lead to bigger changes. Another quick win? Changing the way you talk to yourself. We all have that voice inside our heads, the one that says, "You can't do this," or "You're not ready." Now imagine if, instead of buying into those thoughts, you took a second to flip the script. Instead of saying, "I don't know if I can handle this," try telling yourself, "I can handle this, step by step." That simple shift in thinking is a win. Every time you redirect your self-talk towards something positive, it strengthens your mindset. Little by little, you'll start to see your inner dialogue become more empowering. And guess what? As your self-talk improves, so does your self-belief. You'll start feeling more confident in your ability to handle challenges, big or small. And here's another quick win that can really set the tone for your day: setting clear, intentional goals for yourself. It's easy to get lost in the chaos of daily life, but when you take a moment to write down one thing you want to accomplish today, it gives you a sense of focus and control. It could be something as simple as sending that email you've been putting off, or finishing a task that will move you closer to a personal goal. Writing it down makes it real, and crossing it off your list feels like a small victory. The more you do this, the more you'll see that success doesn't have to be this big, overwhelming thing. It's a collection of small wins that add up over time. Now, what about when you're feeling stuck? Here's a powerful little strategy. Take action before you feel ready. Often the hardest part is getting started. Our brains love to keep us in our comfort zones, avoiding discomfort at all costs. But when you push past that resistance and take that first step, no matter how small, you start breaking the mental block. This is where quick wins can work wonders. Don't wait for the perfect moment to start. Just do the first thing, even if it feels imperfect or messy. Taking action is a huge win in itself, and it builds the momentum you need to keep moving forward. You might surprise yourself by how quickly you overcome the obstacles that once felt impossible. Quick wins also happen when you celebrate the small victories. After you complete a task or make progress on a goal, take a moment to acknowledge it. Don't just rush on to the next thing. Pause, breathe, and give yourself credit. Celebrating even the smallest wins reminds you that you're on the right track. It strengthens your confidence and helps you see just how much you're capable of. Success doesn't have to be about waiting for the big moment. It's about recognizing the small steps that lead you there. And finally, remember, the key to these quick wins is that they set the foundation for bigger success. By focusing on small victories, you build momentum. You build trust in yourself. You prove to yourself that you are capable of achieving your goals, and those small wins turn into something far greater than you could have imagined. So, what's your first quick win going to be today? What's one small action you can take that will get you closer to your goal? Whether it's a task, a shift in mindset, or simply choosing to take action instead of waiting for the perfect moment, take that step today. Every win, no matter how small, is a step toward your bigger vision. And remember, these small steps add up to huge changes over time. Now that you've unlocked the secret to thinking like the 1%, it's time to put it into action. Don't just listen. Start applying this mindset today and watch how your life begins to change. Comment below with one mindset shift you're going to adopt right now. If this audiobook has inspired you, hit that like button, subscribe, and share this video with others who need to hear it. And don't forget to turn on the bell icon so you never miss out on more strategies to level up your life. Remember, success starts with the way you think. Let's make it happen together.